Good afternoon. In this video, I wanted to share some interesting observations that I have discovered as a trader. And I typically trade weekly options. I also trade Bitcoin futures and occasionally some other currency futures as well. Very interesting. A lot of people we hear talk everywhere how Bitcoin is not related or correlated in any sort of way or fashion to any other asset class. So this is what I have observed that has actually helped me make some very good market calls. By observing Bitcoin, I was able to predict in a way some of the stock market moves. And since I trade weekly options, this information came very handy and became very profitable in a few instances. So what you're seeing here in the bright blue and bright red is what most of you would be familiar with as the price of Bitcoin. I'm pulling that off right off TradingView. More in dull colors, right next to it is overlaid the S&P 500 index. And so what I have discovered is Bitcoin actually has been a very good indicator for me to predict how the stock market will behave in the near future. And this is what I have discovered. As Bitcoin was stopping between 19 and 20,000, it was a sign also, as you can see, ahead of time that the stock market was going to top shortly after that. Now, the market, the top in Bitcoin came in, looks like here around, mid-December 17th, before it started falling after that. And the market top we observed, even though you may not be able to see it clearly here, was, roughly a month and 10 days after that. Now, what I'm observing now is when Bitcoin did start falling here, in a way it was an indication that after the stock market was going to top, that it was going to take a similar pattern that Bitcoin did shortly after it topped. So as Bitcoin tops here, starts falling, it tries to go. Okay, so clearly as it reached the top here, it starts going down, and this is exactly what we're seeing when the stock market tops. We definitely see the same pattern as we did with Bitcoin, but now we see it in the S&P 500 index. Now, it did bounce back here a little bit, and then it resumed its downward trend. This is where it hits the 5,800, 5,900 level for a brief moment, and this is where it bottoms. Now, as we can see, shortly after that, okay, the S&P 500 index bottoms literally within a few days after that. So the only difference I can see that here I was using Bitcoin as a sign to predict what the market was going to do, and I did do it ultimately over the course of a few weeks. Now, what I'm noticing recently is that the stock market literally has been repeating what Bitcoin has been doing almost within a few day time frame at this point. So as you can see, as I just showed you, as it bottoms, Bitcoin bottoms, a few days later the stock market bottoms. Okay, it starts going back up, the stock market starts going back up. Now yesterday I put out an interesting video warning everybody that Bitcoin is going to retrace back, and it was trading at 11,521 at the time I did the video. And one of my main arguments was that there were signs, obviously, that Bitcoin was going to fall. And please don't misunderstand me. I am fond of cryptocurrencies, and I really do think blockchain is the future. However, my long-term view on the price of Bitcoin, okay, is that it's going to be less than what it's currently trading at for a variety of reasons, which I stated in the previous video. So, to me, if I'm correct, and Bitcoin is going to continue fallen as it did. So it dropped about 1,000 points, basically, is what you can see from the time I did the video yesterday. Which a lot of you may argue is a coincidence, but you know, I saw some signs that I saw back in December that Bitcoin was going to top and it was going to fall. And I did take advantage of this downward trend. And so I did the video yesterday as a sign of a warning to those that may be interested in getting in at these levels. And a lot of people I'm talking to, they're making the argument, well, somebody bought a bunch, 300-400 million right here. Well, you may or may not be realizing it, that yes, they did. And they did also do that at 6,000 levels. So right now, I think they're selling, and they're selling it, and they're doubling their profits, which, you know, on that amount of money, 300-400 million, you know, either way you look at it, no matter what kind of money it is, it's 100% return. So some people are happy with 100% returns. They may not be as greedy waiting for it to get to 20,000 to try to sell it. So the point is, Bitcoin did drop yesterday as more and more people were getting bullish on the fact that it was going to automatically go and reach for the sky again here, 20,000. It was going to keep going higher and higher. Well, remember what happened here right before the major drop. A lot of people were getting bullish, and a lot of people were getting in here. So those people that got in at these levels from, you know, 15 to 20 grand when it finally dropped to here, I mean, they were definitely going for a lot of pain. And a lot of people did lose the money. So my point of making the video yesterday was the fact that, hey, don't be getting in at this level. There is a good chance it's going to reverse and possibly hit this $8,000 to $7,000 level pretty soon. And I think less and less people are going to be convinced that it's ultimately going to go higher if it does resume its downward trend to the 8,000 or 7,000 level. So put out the video yesterday, and I said, look, this is a great time to sell it. And if you did take my recommendation and you did lock in your gains at 11.5, that would have been a wonderful thing. So of course a lot of you are going to say, well, by the way, it's down, only down 3%. Well, now it's down 10-12% from the time that I put out the video. And you know, I think the next stop is going to be back here. I think it's going to go back and retest at 6,000 level. I'm not saying it's going to do it tomorrow, but I think there's a good chance that it'll actually do it over the next couple of weeks. So Bitcoin is a wonderful thing, but the price of Bitcoin is not. And opposed to what many believe, that it'll just continue rising. I think it's going to ultimately go lower until it's eventually going to settle maybe in $1,000 to $3,000 range somewhere around there. Now that's long term, maybe within a year or two. So as far as the stock market concerned, so what can we make out of this? So yesterday, between yesterday and today, Bitcoin dropped roughly 1,000 points. Okay, so if I go real quick here to my to the Ameritrade, this is a 1 hour chart right here. Actually, let me go back to just 1 minute chart and see exactly what was going on, right? So this is what we're seeing, okay? So Bitcoin was going higher, and again, I'm using it as an indicator of what the market is going to do. So it tries to cross this level of, you know, 11.5 range a few times, and of course this price may vary depending on what, you know, exactly what exchange you're looking at. But it tries to go there, and I'm seeing multiple tops, 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's not able to break the range, and it starts falling lower. Okay, well, the same thing we're looking at the markets today, as they're trying to go higher. This is this purple thing is actually the S&P 500. So as it tries to go higher today, which would be 2745, would be this thing right here. One top, second top. After that, it starts dropping like a rock, which exactly what Bitcoin was doing starting yesterday. So in a way, if you were to follow this as an indicator that the fall of Bitcoin, which started yesterday, was going to be an indicator of what the market was going to do today after it tried to go for this level of 2745 today. And ultimately, after it tried a couple of times, it gave in and the sell-off started. As you can see towards the end of the day, for the very first time, actually, these two graphs almost coincide. As you can see, Bitcoin at one point went down to a low of 10,180, which of course is a pretty strong support level here, so it's bouncing off a little bit. And so did the market. It actually ended up at the lowest point for the day, minus 17 points on the S&P 500, right under 2,700 range, 26.99. And so we can see, if you're looking after hours, that the markets are also bouncing back a couple of points. So at this point, they're almost going side by side. So I'm curious to see if ultimately they're either going to fall tomorrow together, which I think there's a good chance of happening. And if that does happen at the same time, then they may be actually, both of their graphs could coincide. But as you can see, if you use that as an indicator yesterday, you would have known exactly what would happen by the market close today. If you look at it on a longer time frame, again, the purple is the S&P 500. Again, we're noticing, so here's the low of Bitcoin 5880, and I'm using the futures. I'm actually using the futures on prices on SIBO here. So as Bitcoin bottomed right here at 5880, you can see shortly after that, a few days later, the S&P 500 index bottoms. And then as Bitcoin moves higher, you can clearly see this purple movements uptrend higher as well. And here it starts topping at 11.8, and you can see that the market also stopping, and it's starting its move lower. So I hope that some of you guys can use this as an indicator, as a trading tool. It's certainly been very helpful to me, and I hope you could get some good trades off of this. Okay, thanks for watching. If you have been curious how to make the money when markets fall, please visit marketcrash.money and get some additional information. Specifically, I have compiled some interesting reasons why stock market crash 2010 is a definite possibility, why we could be going for another Bitcoin crash, and more importantly, how to not let the market crash or the Bitcoin crash take advantage of you. Find out how to profit. If you're a new trader or an experienced trader, but you're looking for new ideas, new ways how to take advantage of the market fall, because quite honestly, markets do fall much, much faster than they go up. So it represents, for a trader, a great opportunity to profit on the opposite direction of the market in a much shorter time frame, and oftentimes maximize much bigger returns. So if interested in knowing the ways how I trade weekly options for huge profits as much as 3,800% to 5,000% on certain days, get in touch with me. Visit this link right here, How to Profit, read some information, and schedule your consultation. I'll be glad to help out and get somebody on the right track and show you some of my profitable ideas and share some experience which I've accumulated over the last 30 years trading weekly options. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. We'll see you soon.